Hey there, today we're checking out the latest fat-tired, rugged, still foldable bike from Engwe, the EP2 Boost. This rugged little beast folds up to fit neatly where you want it, but packs the power to handle trails, towns and everything in between. Whether you're running quick errands without breaking camp or exploring places your van can't go, the EP2 Boost gives you the freedom on two wheels without taking up precious space. Stick with us as we put it through its paces both on and off-road. Don't forget to check out our other videos on everything campervan and motorhome related, from solar to water, heating to gadgets, tyres to trips. If you like this video, please do hit the thumbs up, it really does help me to know what you like, and you can ask any questions or give feedback in the comments. If you want to make sure you don't miss any of our future videos, please hit the subscribe button, and clicking the bell will give you a notification when a new video goes live. Finally, if you do decide to hit the thumbs down, it would be great if you could also leave a comment so I know what you didn't like. The EP2 Boost not only has rugged characteristics and load lugging capability that we've come to expect from Engwe, it's also fully EU and UK compliant, meaning there's no risk of fines or confiscation, but it still has this handy boost button for a burst of supercharged power when you need it. We're here at our usual closed road test track to see how it performs on road, off road and at differing power levels, so let's get on with it. The Engwe EP2 Boost comes in at just under £1,000 and is available in grey, orange or the black that we have. Check out the video description for links and discount codes for any of the Engwe range of bikes. As usual, the EP2 arrived well packaged and with easy to follow instructions, so it was simple to do the final assembly. An optional extra for the EP2 are BMX style handlebars. The reason you may want to consider these is the extra adjustment they give, meaning you can give yourself a more dynamic forward leaning stance, and we'll show you later how easy they are to fit. But for our tests we'll be using the bike in its original standard configuration with straight handlebars. For a fat-tired, off-road capable bike, it's pretty unusual for it to fold, which makes the EP2 Boost easy to transport. As you can see here, folding and unfolding the bike is easy. The EP2 Boost model that we have here maintains its EU and UK compliance but adds a boost button to give you access to more power for a short burst when you need it. Its torque sensor, unlike the cheaper cadence sensor on some bikes, makes the pedal assist smooth, and those fat tyres, suspension, 7-speed gears and 280mm disc brakes make it a smooth ride and easy to go and stop. The 624 Wh battery has a quoted range of 120 km in power assist level 1. So now let's put the EP2 Boost through its paces at the closed road circuit. As you'll no doubt tell, the wind on the day we tried the bike at the track played havoc with the microphone, so I'll be voice-overing some of the commentary and apologise as some of the live commentary may be a little difficult to listen to. So I'm going to have to voice over at least the start of this lap. What I'm saying is that on this lap I'm using the EP2 Boost on power assistance level 5 and using the boost button when it will be helpful. The EP2 Boost is fully UK and EU compliant, meaning it doesn't have a throttle, but the boost button is a great help for an extra burst of power when you need it. I'm now coming up to the uphill section of the track and I'm dropping down the gears and hitting the boost button. As you can see, that was a very easy ride up quite a steep hill with the power assistance and boost. As we come around this corner of the track, the wind drops a little bit, so let's go back to the live commentary. Now we're on the downhill part of the track. Now with those fat tyres, there's a bit of rolling resistance on this bike. And to be fair, it's a really comfortable ride with the suspension on the front, but it's not the most dynamic of riding position. So if you like to be sat upright in a comfortable position, then it's perfect. But if you want to be in a more dynamic position, then the alternative BMX bars, which we'll look at either later in this video or in a separate video, are probably a good choice for it. So we're now on the back straight, cruising along. The resistance helping us out at that level 5, doing 15-16 miles an hour just to keep on that limit of the boat helping us. Okay, and that's it. We're already coming back into the finish. Nice, smooth, assisted lap, very little effort, and generally very, very easy. So now, as I said, on this second lap, I've got it on power level assist 1, so that will give me the maximum available range. I am going to use the boost button when I need it. I gave it a little tap just to set off at the start. Still, because of the gearing on the bike, still pretty easy ride, even with that only level 1 assistance switched on. Coming up to the hill, so I'm going to drop the gears and I'm going to hit that boost button. So this should give us maximum power going up the hill. There we go, it's kicked in. And even though I'm actually still in gear 4, because I've hit the boost, I can easily get up at the top, take my finger off the boost, so we're back down to power level 1. Now on the flatter back straight, I am having to put in more physical effort to keep up that speed than I was on 5, understandably. But not a lot. You know, I am surprised actually. I thought I'd have to be putting in more effort to keep up to that 15 miles an hour speed limit. But even on power assistance level 1, it's giving me enough assistance that it's still, you know, easy to ride. It's not an effort. I am putting in effort, but nowhere near as much as I suspect I'm going to have to do on the next lap when I turn the power assistance off altogether. And here we are coming into the finish. Okay, here we are on that lap. You all know I don't like that. Power is off, so I'm getting no assistance from the motor at all. I can tell you now it's going to be a slower lap, but even with the weight of the bike, the back tyres, the gearing does make it alright to ride. Probably having a faster cadence than I normally would to keep it going, but I'm doing 14 miles an hour without any problem. Challenge is going to come as I get around this corner onto that uphill bit. Approaching that uphill section, dropping the gears to help. I'm going to go right down to as low as I can. I'm not going to be able to do it sitting down, so I'm up into standing position and it's going to be a bit of a slog. but I think I will just about make it. Yeah, there we go. So up top, straighten the camera. Up there, the lowest gear in here is pretty low, so for a steep section like that, it is doable. And now on the flat, I can change gear. As I said earlier, it's not the most dynamic position of bikes for riding, but it is relaxing. So on the back straight now, I am in gear 5 of 7, and I'm reasonably easily able to keep up that 50 miles per hour. Now, clearly you can tell it's effort, and if I wanted to, it will drop my speed significantly as I come to the end. But it's actually not as bad as I thought it would be. So if you were out riding this bike and the battery went flat, you could definitely get home. It's just going to use a bit more effort. Okay, and coming into the end of that lap, as I said, more effort, but actually the speed was still reasonable, even if I wasn't able to keep up that 50 miles an hour that I could with power assist all the way around. So if we take a look at the stats for each of the laps, as expected we can see that power assistance level 5 was the easiest effort, but power assistance level 1, which would maximise range, actually wasn't that much slower and only a little bit more effort. No power assistance was slower and quite a bit more effort, but it was a surprise that it wasn't more difficult than it actually was. So we've seen how it performs on the road, let's take it off-road and see how those fat tyres and suspension smooth out the bumps and the power delivery eats up the effort. As I mentioned at the start of the video and on the test track, the optional BMX handlebars for the EP2 Boost could make the ergonomics better for those that like a leaned forward dynamic riding position. The kit includes a stem and the BMX bars. Installation simply involves removing the control hardware from the existing bars and then the handlebars and stem before replacing the new stem and bars and replacing all the controls. As you can see, the extra adjustment that's possible with the BMX bars allows you to change the ergonomics of the bike compared to the straight handlebars, which make you more upright. There is a slight compromise in the compactness of the folded bike, as the BMX bars don't fold with a quick release. However, it's possible to fold them forward by loosening the headstock. So overall, if you're looking for a practical, rugged, folding and let's face it, cool looking e-bike that meets EU and UK compliance, the EP2 Boost is a great choice. Thanks for watching our video, and as always, if you have any questions or feedback, please pop them in the comments below. If you find the video useful, please like, share and consider subscribing.